welcome to my YouTube channel, A Girl Called Ben. My name is Belinda, but my nickname is Ben. It's a name that was given to me by my brother since childhood, and literally my entire family, friends call me Ben. It's to the point where everyone calls me Ben now. But yeah, so welcome. Right now we're in my closet, which is my favorite space in the house, in our home. So yeah, today I'm doing a YouTube channel on how I achieved this look. It's a unit that I just made, and I am super excited, y'all, at how this turned out. Listen, I am not a professional hairdresser by any means, but I am here to tell you that you don't have to be one to achieve looks like this. You know, you don't have to spend so much money to do it. But again, it's something that I've done that took a lot of practice, and honestly, I'm here to share my story on how I achieved this look, and hopefully it'll help one of you girls to, you know, go and try to make your own. Let's get started. So we're using 2 scoops of the Clairol BW-2 lightening powder, and we're also using the Salon Care 30 volume developer cream. We're mixing a total of 7 capfuls of the developer cream. You want to make sure that you have a really good consistency to your bleaching cream because you want to make sure that it's not runny where it runs through the lace and bleaches your roots. You're only here to bleach the lace and not the roots. So just adding a couple more capfuls, which equaled out to about 7 capfuls, and then mixing it in really well. You don't want any clumps, any lumps into the cream. You want to make sure that it's nicely spread throughout. Had a little hair in there, I had to get that out. But once you're done mixing up the cream, you want to start applying it to your lace, and you want to get a good covering around that whole lace. Inside of the ring, there's no point to bleaching outside of the lace, that ring to the lace, only because it gives you chances of bleaching your hair, and you're about to cut that out anyway. So you want to make sure you have a really good covering around the lace. You want to press really lightly on the lace because it can push the bleaching cream through the lace and bleach your roots to the hair. You don't want to do that. You only want to bleach the lace. So once you get a really good covering, and also get the front of your lace frontal, because although there's only small amounts of baby hairs there, it'll sit on your forehead and look like your scalp and your forehead. So get a really good covering and flip it over and apply it to aluminum foil. I put my lace on aluminum foil when I'm bleaching it, only because it holds heat and it helps to bleach that lace a lot faster and a little more thoroughly. So I leave it in for about 25 minutes and wash it out with Shimmer Light shampoo. This is a purple shampoo that you wash your lace with, and honestly I wash the whole hair, of course, but it helps to prevent your roots or the lace having that orange tinge look. A lot of times when you're bleaching your hair, sometimes the bleach does go through, which is not a bad thing, but it sometimes can lead you to having orange roots. So you want to make sure that you wash it with this purple shampoo, and it helps to prevent that orange look. You want to wash it really thoroughly. I actually did this process twice. Some might do 3 times, but just as long as you make sure you get all of that bleach out and your hair is all washed out with the bleach. All right, so it's now time to sew her in. All right, so when laying the lace on top of the Spandex Dome Cap, you want to start sewing in where the tip of that ring ends. Like you start each side right where those tips end. You never want to sew in your lace when the lace ends, because your part's going to be all the way in the back of your forehead. So you start where the tip ends and you start sewing only on one side. Whatever sewing technique that you have, you want to continue that. I didn't show exactly how I sew my hair in, the technique that I'm using, because everybody has their own technique on exactly how they sew in the hair. So I didn't go into detail, but if you do want me to show you how I sew it in, the technique that I use, I can. But I mean, whatever technique you use, you can do the same thing, but just make sure that you're sewing one side first and not working your way all around that lace, only because it prevents you from sewing in the lace crooked, lopsided, or just bunched up. Because those are things that I've done, trying to sew all the way around with one sew in. So once I started this technique with sewing one side first and then working my way to the other side and lastly sewing in the back of the lace, I've never had to re-sew my lace in. So definitely a great technique that I say that'd be great to use. So I'm working on one side and I'm almost all the way through that one side of the lace. I'm not going to go through the back, but I am going to start on the opposite side of the lace. You want to make sure that as you're sewing the lace that you're pulling back the lace, that it lays really flat. Because the worst thing is to have a lumpy lace sewed in. And honestly, I've done it so many times. So now that this side is all sewn in, as you can see, it's time to work on the opposite side. So we're gonna sew in, and I actually tried sewing it upside down and it started off, but kind of didn't work out. But as you see, I'm starting at the tip of where that lace ring ends and not the tip of the lace, so that it can sit perfectly on my forehead or wherever I put my part. I'm starting at that tip and working my way down. Excuse the ashy elbows, y'all. Sorry. Let you know that I just got a clean shower though. So we're starting that side, and I had to work my way around. It was just way too hard trying to sew upside down or backwards. So I'm working on the other side of the lace, and it helps the lace to lay flat, because then you're able to pull and make sure that you got like the lace laid down flat and that there's no lumps or no space in between. So I'm sewing the opposite side, and again, whatever technique you use, you just continue to use that same technique as you're sewing the lace in. Whether you're gluing, I mean, you can use this process. I wouldn't recommend gluing, but I mean, I've seen wigs that were glued down and came out beautiful. So whatever technique you use, whether it's sewing or gluing, I just recommend that you start on one side, work to the other side, and then lastly sewing, gluing the back of the hair, whatever you choose to do. And it makes it have that flat lace, that flat look, because we're going for that sheer, long, dark, flat, parted to the middle look. So right now I'm sewing in the back of the lace and just kind of pulling back to make sure that the lace again is laying flat. So as you're pulling, you just want to make sure that there's no gaps into the lace. Now you see the extra lace that I'm talking about? That's the part you don't want to bleach, because you're wasting your bleach and you're putting yourself at risk for bleaching your hair. We're going to cut all that off once we're done sewing the back of the lace. So I would never try to bleach that hair. So here I already cut it off, and as you can see, the extra lace has already been cut off and it's laid down. And now it's time to sew our hair in. I'm using a mannequin head that I got from Sally's. These things are like $4 or $5 from Sally's. And also a mannequin stand that you can put on your counter. And let me tell you, I like this better than the mannequin that I was using earlier, because it's just like sewing on someone's head. You can maneuver it around just like I was just showing you, and it makes it easier when you're sewing the sides and the back of the wig. It just helps you to better maneuver the mannequin head, and honestly it's a lot less stressful when you're sewing the hair in with this thing. It just works so easy. So here we go. It's time to sew her in. So the stand I did also get from Sally's, and that was about $15. And I'm putting a rag over it only because it helps the mannequin head to sit on the stand better. So I'm now starting off sewing my tracks in to the Spandex Dome. And again, whatever technique you use when sewing your hair, you just want to continue that same technique on the Spandex Dome and just kind of work your way around. I normally do not double my tracks. Some people do, but I just find it to your wig, especially when you're using straight hair, it lays so much flatter. There's not lumps, it's just not lumpy. Now, when I'm sewing in curly hair, I do tend to double on the bottom of my caps, only because it saves time, and your hair's curly and usually really big, so you can't really tell. But when I'm sewing in anything that's straight, I always sew in one track at a time, only because it helps to lay flat, and you're not at risk of having those bumps and lumps on your hair, and it just doesn't look good. So we're starting off in the back, and I do not cut my tracks, but when I get to the top of my sew-ins, I do cut where I don't double up, where I don't fold over towards the edge, because again, you're at risk of having those lumps in it. Just the parts, it becomes really lumpy, and the hair doesn't lay flat. So that's where I actually start cutting the tracks so that it lays a lot flatter. When you're wearing a straight wig that you're making and you're actually sewing in, it's so easy to have those tracks seen if you're doubling up, if you're folding over. I mean, some ladies might have some great techniques on how to fold over and not have it lumpy. If you do, please let me know, because I would definitely like to save some time on not cutting my tracks. But normally I don't fold them over on towards the top. I do cut them. We're on the last track. Yay, we're almost done. I am so excited about this wig. So we're sewing in the last track, and again, as you can see, that track was already pre-cut, so that I'm not folding over and so that it's not lumpy, and it just lays beautifully flat for that sheer goddessy look, but diva-ish look. I'm just working my way around all the way in the back, and we're almost done. So excited, y'all. Just working our way around. I only use 2 bundles of hair, and I'll put the information of where I got my hair down in the link below. But it is 2 different companies where I did get my hair. So I'm only using 2 bundles. With this hair, I'm going for like a straight, thin, not too bulky look, because I want to wear it straight and long and thin. I've had long, voluminous bone straight hair, and it just felt too heavy. So I was going for something a little lighter, bone straight, that I can do during the fall season this year. So working on that last track and laying the lace down, and we are all done with the sewing part. So now it's time to just brush her hair, brush this wig, and lay her down flat. So we are done, ladies. So now I got it back on the old mannequin that I had before, because it stands taller than the mannequin that I had while sewing it in. And I'm using a straightener comb and a flat iron to flatten the hair. This comb basically grips and combs the hair as I'm flattening it with the flat iron. So it just makes it so much easier. If you have curly hair that you're trying to straighten out, this comb is like the best thing to use to straighten out your curly hairs. I mean, I've had like really tight curly spiral curl wigs that I've used this on, and I mean, I was able to get it almost bone straight. So I actually use it even on my straight hairs just to kind of make it easier, one, to comb through, and really to get it that nice clean flat look all throughout. And I actually did this throughout the whole process of my hair, but I'm not going to show, just for the sake of time, how I did the entire hair. So I made sure that I just got every part of the hair and flattened it with the flat iron and just combed through to get that bone straight look. All right, ladies, she is all done. And it's time to put the wig on, the unit wig, whatever you guys call it. Like, I call them units sometimes I call it a wig. Sometimes I have specific names for my wigs, you know what I mean? Like, depending on how I'm feeling that day or whatever. But y'all, I'm so excited. There's always like a sense of excitement and nervousness when I'm done making my wigs and it's time to put them on, because you just never know. Like, trying all the perfect techniques and thinking you got it down, you just really never know until you try it on, whether you're gonna like it or not. So I always get a little nervous and excited, but I don't know, I have a feeling this is gonna be good. This is my first time trying it on, so let's see. I'm so excited. I'm very excited at how the roots came out. You know what I mean? Like, how you just, it just looks like skin, like scalp. And that's exactly the look you're going for when you're bleaching your knots. So, all right, enough talking. It's time to try this baby on. Let's do that. Y'all. Okay. So you just gonna lay perfect like that. Like, you just gonna, does this not look like scalp? I mean, you can wear this all kinds of ways. I can wear it to the side. Wear it to the side. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, are you okay? You know what? I'm sorry, I got a bop to it, because when your wigs come out better than how you expected it to, listen. Okay. So I usually like wear my wigs parted in the middle. I mean, with this, you can do both ways. You can do it to the side, you can do it to the left. I'm gonna do this in the middle, at least for now. And if you guys want a tutorial on like a follow-up on how long, like in a few months, how this wig is doing, let me know. I will definitely do another one to kind of have a follow-up on this wig. And I'll put the information about the hair below. But y'all, oh my goodness, look at this. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When I say you want the hair to look like it's growing from your scalp. Look at this. Like it's growing from your scalp. It doesn't look wiggy. For you grammatically correct people, I know that might bother you, because that's not a word, but it's a word for me. And I do not want my wigs to look wiggy. I want them to look real. All right, ladies, so once you have your wig like laid out exactly where you want it to lay, I wanted mine in the middle, but as you saw earlier, I can have this wig like parted anywhere, whether it's the left or to the right. Because this is not a full lace frontal, which is what I usually wear. I usually love the full laces because you have the option of pinning your hair up. I mean, with this one, I can still pin it, but you kind of have to have like that little swoop over, only because situations like this will happen. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you sewn the hair all the way to the edges, that's fine, but I did not do that. But even with that, there's chances of you seeing the tracks. So I love my full lace frontals, and I think I'm going to do a tutorial on that to show how I make it and how I put it on. But the reason why I wanted just a 2x2 lace with this is because I want this to be like a bone straight hair that I wear without curling it, and I want it to lay flat. So I chose the slimmer lace, but with that there's no pinning it up. So, but the benefit of that is that I don't have to worry about gluing, pinning, anything. This just lays flat. So all I have to do is really just cut the lace. Now with that, a lot of times when people are wearing their lace, the thing that happens, the problem that happens, is that people cut the lace too far back. Those little baby hairs are supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to cut that off. So you can either push those hairs back. Now this lace that I got was already pre-plucked. But I can do a video where I show you how to pluck it. But this lace was already pre-plucked, which made it a lot easier. So all I had to do was just bleach the knots. So it's already pre-plucked, so we didn't have to worry about plucking the lace. And again, I'll put all the information on where I got my hair in the links underneath this video. But you just push all the little hairs back. You grab some scissors. I mean, I am really loving how like the bleach knots came out. Like, I mean, this is really good, y'all. I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like really messing it. So I'm gonna look in this mirror over here, y'all, to get this cut perfectly. But you do not want to. I usually cut my lace while it's on my head. Some people can do it while it's off. Personally, I see exactly where my hairline is, and to me, it's just a lot easier to do it while it's on your head. So here we go. That's it. Y'all, I am like beyond excited at how this came out. So we just completed a whole wig unit. I actually used 2 bundles of hair, not 3. I wanted this to be thin. I didn't want too much volume, but if you want that thick volume, 3 bundles. And because my lace was so thin, like it was only a 2x2, it wasn't a 4x4. You can really use up to 4 bundles, but that's like a lot of volume. Again, I wanted this to be that thin, long, bone straight hair. And honestly, I'm super excited with how this turned out. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you know what I mean, just let me know. But yeah, I am loving how this turned out. So just 2 bundles, 2x2 lace, and this is the turnout. But you know what? With or without the makeup, with or without the wigs or the glammed out outfit, I say you are still beautiful, and God created you perfect, honey. So with that being said, I want you to keep your head up. I want you to stay prayed up, and I want you to walk in your true purpose, honey. Cause listen, we got somewhere we're going. I just say I'm going fashionably. Yes.